Good evening, race fans, and welcome to tonight's JD's Hilltop Salvage 150 here from the Texas Motor Speedway. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me, as always, is, of course, Christopher Wright. Chris, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Robert. How are you doing here?
Doing pretty darn good, my friend. Obviously, another race down, and we are, I believe, race number 2 in the season? 3. Race 3 in the season already, Chris, is Latham Joyner leading our points early on. But here at Texas, qualifying just wrapping up. We'll have to see who has made the show and who will be going home. As, of course, 49 cars here once again, Chris. Taking a look at...
Caleb Thompson, Seth Rawls are going to miss the show tonight.
Definitely more than that going home is Caleb Thompson, Seth Rawls, Rory Collins as well. I believe Josh Smith, another one that'll be going home. As we look at the top of the starting order, at least, Kwame Scott on the pole. Tate Lytle making Grand National Series start number 100 tonight. Will line up on the outside of the front row. Scott Crumps, Matthew Weeks, and Andrew Rucker rounding out the top 5. Ty McIntosh with a great qualifying effort for Shift Esports there. Tyler Fode, Nick Indelicato, Trey Holmes, Jesse Rasmus, and Cameron Rich rounding out the actually, I do apologize. Jesse Rasmus rounding out the top 10. Cameron Rich, Johnny Thomas, Jay Kaner, David Tooker, Gerald Campbell, R.C. Anderson, Chad Frankenfield, Joe Francis, as well as we try to cycle through our grid here. A little bit of a hiccup there. Leighton Norgard and John Cutlip rounding out the top 20. Remainder of the field, of course, we will see momentarily once we figure out who has made the race and who has not. Tonight's event, Chris, is, of course, the JD's Hilltop Salvage 150. We have 100 laps here around Texas, 3 sets of tires, actually 4, including the set on the car, and no stage breaks tonight, of course. So we will take a look as the cars are on the grid. Chris, what are some things that these guys are going to have to look out for here tonight at Texas?
Well, unlike in real life, we will have a fair amount of tire fall off. This place in real life has become quite the dud here since the repave. And is this the old Texas or new Texas? This is new Texas, right?
This is indeed the new Texas.
Yeah, so we're going to have quite a bit of tire fall off, but on the short run, they will be just about wide open through 3 and 4. Quite a bit of lift in 1 and 2. And as the run goes longer, you'll be able to move around a little bit. Maybe in each end, but for sure in 1 and 2, you'll be able to move up a little bit if you so desire. Should be a great race. This is a great racetrack to run on the sim, unlike real life, like I kind of already stated here. So it should be a great race. We should see lots of tire fall off, lots of passing, and maybe not as many cautions as we saw in Kansas.
Definitely hoping for not too many cautions here, as it looks like the grid period has been extended just a little bit here. Try to sort out who has missed the show and who has not, of course. Try to get everyone caught up as well, as it looks like the pace car.
I believe I gave you the names, right? Didn't I give you the names? We're still at the 45 or whatever, I believe. We're still at...
Okay, so we are still starting a larger field here tonight. Got that. Also, of course...
Here. 43 starting next week. It will drop back to 43.
Okay, that is noted. So we got 45 starting tonight. 43 will start as of next week. This is a cool feature I like here at Texas, Chris. The beautiful caution lights around the outside of the track. As you can see, the lights are off on the pace car. I do want to give a quick shout out to our presenting partners here tonight. Of course, this is the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series, so check out rebilasphoto.com for your photography needs. Of course, Blue Egg Marketing, the marketing department for small businesses, as well as TA Services, TA Services has been a trusted domestic and international full-service third-party logistics provider offering freight brokerage, managed transportation, warehousing, and fulfillment, as well as cross-border logistics services to shippers around the globe. TA Services moves what matters to you. Let the TA Services team make ship happen, as well as Worldwide Technology Raceway, formerly known as Gateway in Madison, Illinois, home to a 1.25-mile oval, 2-mile road course, quarter-mile drag strip, and a state-of-the-art karting facility. And our race sponsor tonight, JD's Hilltop Salvage. James Doerr is Goodrich's scrap metal authority with over 50 years of experience in an ever-changing industry. JD is the guy you want to call to get rid of your old junk, from washing machines that no longer work to decommissioned Boeing 747 set on top of the beautiful Goodrich Hill. JD's Hilltop Salvage is your go-to place with no job being too big or too small. Down to the racetrack, pace car about to take the sharp left-hand turn. We'll hand it down to Barney the flagman to get us underway here tonight in the JD's Hilltop Salvage 150, the second JD's Hilltop Salvage 150 of the season. Green flag, and we are underway with Kwame Scott and Tate Lytle.
Yeah, good start there for Kwame. Tate took off pretty good too, but that outside lane, Matthew Weeks on back, not taking off nearly as good as we see a lot of guys trying to fight to get to the bottom down here in the first and second turn.
Yeah, as you can see here, a little bit of battling behind the race leaders. Tate Lytle actually trying to chase down Kwame Scott, trying to get to his rear bumper. Just behind them, you see Andrew Rucker and Scott battling side by side for position. Lap number 1 completed is Kwame Scott leading the way over Tate Lytle. A little bit of shuffling going on towards the back half of the top 10 as well. As you see Scott Crump and Matthew Weeks, those guys have a bit of history. That's for 5th and 6th. Ty McIntosh just behind them, as well as Nick and Delicado. So quite a bit of Shift Esports up here, but the leaders starting to break away already here, Chris.
Yeah, a lot of people are lifting quite a bit in 3 and 4, trying to save tire for the long run, and some of these guys are trying to run pretty hard. It's almost accordion there a couple times down into 3 and 4, almost like you would see at a short track there, where by the time you're 4 or 5 cars back, you hit somebody. So it's very interesting seeing all these guys. Some guys trying to save, some guys trying to go. As the leaders, you're trying to go and get away. Back in traffic, though, it's very difficult to go and try to go through people when they're right in front of you.
Absolutely. As you look here, we do see Jesse Rasmus in the 70 car on the bottom lane of Andrew Rucker here, trying to work his way up inside the top 5. Currently running 7th. Scott Crump there in 6th. And Nick Indelicato holding down the 5th position right now. But lots of action all throughout the field early on here. Johnny Thomas has been working that high lane all race long so far. I mean, we're only 4 laps in. But Johnny Thomas showing that that line is going to be his line here tonight at Texas.
And Johnny almost got hit by the 50, and the 50 checked up and almost got hit by the 15 down there in the 3. I think Chad and RC are trying to go forward in a hurry there, and Johnny's maybe just trying to be a little bit easier, trying to go forward without being too awful aggressive.
Yeah, that's
so unique this place is. Down in 3 and 4, all the banking, all that momentum they were able to get. Oh, Tooker gets sideways under Johnny. Good save by David Tooker. Good job by Gerald Campbell to stay off of him.
Yeah, Gerald Campbell did a nice job there trying to avoid any sort of incidents. You see RC Anderson and Johnny Thomas both now moving to the bottom lane. You mentioned that the track has a little bit of variance in the banking. So what we'll do is we'll actually ride on board for a lap here with Tate Lytle, the 2nd place car, so you can kind of see that difference in the banking.
Such a flat corner here, just super flat, lots of off throttle time.
Yeah, you can really see the flatness there in 1 and 2, and all of a sudden here in 3 and 4 things start getting a little bit more banked than what we see there in 1 and 2. Front straightaway here, well, I guess the tri-oval, very dark on this racetrack. Not sure if you noticed that.
I don't know if it's just where it's newer and the pavement's a little darker and it just doesn't look as bright or what it is. But yeah, it looks a little dark there on the front stretch. It lights up when the caution comes out, though. You start seeing those yellow lights. It really, you know it when you're in the car. You start seeing all those yellow lights flash.
100%. We'll definitely be seeing that at some point tonight. One thing I do want to quickly point out that's really, really caught my eye here early on. This man right here, the 56 machine, Josh Adams. He is currently up, Chris, 21 positions from his starting spot. Of course, a couple guys did miss the show, but he's still up a ton early on.
Yeah, I know Josh has a lot of laps around here. I don't know if it's necessarily one of his favorite tracks, but he runs here a lot and runs pretty well here, so no surprise to see him move forward. Actually, the bigger surprise is the fact that he qualified so poorly.
Yeah, you and I were looking that over earlier on before we started the show tonight, and noticed that Josh was really so far back. You have to wonder if maybe he had a slip up on one of his laps where maybe he spun out or grabbed the wall a little bit and really lost the opportunity to work his way up through qualifying. But Josh Adams not letting that hold him back too much whatsoever.
Yeah, and I'm seeing some cars start to handle a little bit. Some guys are starting to have trouble wrapping the bottom down in 1 and 2. You're starting to see some cars, handle poorly, carrying more speed down in 3 and 4. So we're starting to see the beginning of some tire fall off, and we're going to have some comers and goers here. Some guys who have been super fast will start fading. I'm not sure. Kwame and Tate are great drivers, so it would not surprise me at all if they stayed first and second. But if they have abused their tires, you'll see Fody, Weeks, and Delicato come back to them, maybe able to pass them.
Absolutely. As you know, last week we saw Nick and Delicato running so strong very early, and then all of a sudden, it's like a switch was flipped, and all of a sudden he's running back around the 30th position, just not really able to gain much. So watch for Nick and Delicato to maybe approach a different strategy here tonight to try to stay more towards the front, not fall back and kind of get stuck in that same traffic that he had last week. Nick and Delicato is an incredible driver. I don't know if you have much experience with him, Chris, but he was a former teammate of mine, and he's very, very strong on every type of surface.
Yeah, he's a strong driver. I raced with him quite a bit a while back. I haven't raced with him too much recently. Josh Adams just went through the grass on the front stretch trying to make a pass, and I am going to tell you what, that car was completely sideways coming out of the dog leg on the front stretch. Wow. I don't know if you can go back and get a look at that on this very lap, but my goodness, I thought for sure we were about to talk about Josh Adams' run ending right there.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull that up, Chris. Just give me a moment here. As I try to find, I don't know.
About 30 seconds ago, whatever exactly one lap ago there is down the front stretch when he was making that pass on the 12. It was...
Yeah, unfortunately, it did not actually trigger anything here on my tracker. So unfortunately, we won't be able to go back and grab that Josh Adams incident, but he has run really well early on here. Already up just outside the top 20, just behind him, though. Also, another Adams here. That's his brother.
Well, Josh Robin does the same thing that Josh did a couple laps ago, right there in front of Josh. Trying to pinch it off and got down there in the grass for Josh Robin. I am telling you that. I wonder if that's going to be an issue with these guys tonight. Are we going to see more of that, or was that just two freak things happening, I guess, within a couple laps of each other?
It's definitely something we'll need to follow tonight here, as you see Josh Adams working his way around the Gerald Campbell machine. Josh Robin coming through with him as well. Jake Adams hanging out there, going to make that same jump here. So, whoa, a little bit of contact just about between Josh Robin and Gerald Campbell. I think we're about to be 3 wide here.
Yeah, That could have been hairy for almost a second there.
So you see Garrison Hogan now on the outside of the Jacob Adams machine. We'll jump back up front here in just a moment. The biggest battles in this field.
Right,
biggest battle in the field, definitely right there. But now we see Andrew Rucker getting passed, shuffled outside the top 10. Rucker already down 6 positions, about to lose a 7th here to Jay Kaner. But I want to jump right back to that.
Here we go, 3 wide.
That mix. Here we go. Jake Adams to the bottom of Gerald Campbell. We're going to go up to our blimp. He gets back in line behind the 31 machine. Smart move there by Adams to avoid any sort of potential incident. A little bit behind them here, I see Tyler Popp getting a bit racy on the back of, I was about to say Josh Clark. That is John Cutlip in the 28 machine. Got to get used to that driver change in the 28 as Leighton Norgard makes the move. Now Jake Adams making the pass on Gerald Campbell. Here comes Garrison Hogan to the inside into turn number 3. Hogan battling.
The 13 and the 12 get together behind them. Big save, big slide.
Big slide, big save by Tyler Popp. That is for sure. Tyler Popp does not have a race that goes by quietly, Chris. That guy always has something going on around him. Also, I want to point out Tyler Fody has gained a ton on these race leaders.
I am going to tell you what. I know you're trying to go back and talk about these leaders, and Fody's a great driver, and he's going to run them down, and we're going to have a great battle. But this battle between Hogan and Thomas and Adams and Rob, this racing right here is insane right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of swapping of positions. Johnny Thomas now in the fight. There's the 03 car. Latham Joyner just ahead of them. No paint scheme on the Joyner car today. Definitely a little bit different.
I think Johnny is going backwards in this. I think that's going to hurt Jake right here.
Johnny Thomas down 8 positions already. You have Hogan and Cutlip on the bottom. 2 friends here. They hooked up to win the Daytona 500 just a week ago. I thought we were about to have contact between Cutlip and Adams there. Luckily, nothing came of that. Adams back to the bottom. This is definitely proving to be one heck of a battle. I do quickly want to point out Josh Adams now just outside the top 15, already up 30 positions. He is the biggest mover by 2 spots over Garrison Hogan. Hogan up 28.
I think Garrison and Jake were trying to follow Josh through, and they just are not getting through the traffic near as good as Josh is.
Josh is incredibly skilled at working his way through any sort of traffic. We've seen it basically any type of racetrack. Josh Adams can work his way through just about anything, as you see Jake Adams now making a move to the inside of Johnny Thomas. We're 3 wide once again into turn number 3. Seems like the opportunity corner is Johnny Adams now. Johnny Thomas.
Adams. We had a 3rd Adams brother?
Yeah, we just expanded the Adams family there. As we do have to go back up front here, because now we have the top 3 all on top of each other. Tate Lytle looks like he's prepping to make a move on Kwame Scott here. Tyler Fody just behind them. Matthew Weeks about 4 tenths back. As here comes Tate Lytle to that rear bumper of the Kwame Scott machine. Look for Tate Lytle to make a move. Here he goes to the inside of the 95. Here he is, Tate Lytle. Again, start number 100 in the Mark Rebilas Photography Grand National Series. Tate Lytle trying to grab that lead. We're already a quarter of the way through this event, Chris. This is moving at a rapid pace. Absolutely love to see it as these guys battle side by side.
Yeah, and Kwame's a great driver. He might have worked his tires out a little bit. Tate, a great driver. These are all really great drivers, great at saving their stuff. So I think Kwame has used his up just a little bit, being out there in the lead, trying to drive hard, maybe trying to create a gap. Tate saved. I think Fody might be the best of the bunch right now. But passing is so difficult, and you're seeing that with Tate right now. Kwame is really not giving him a lot of room.
As you just saw right there.
Tate, right? Like, that might frustrate him. But Kwame's only doing that because he trusts that you can hold your line. You know, Kwame trusts that Tate knows what he's doing. Tate's not going to use him up and, pinched him down there.
Yeah, that move right there by Kwame Scott to close off the run that Tate was about to get was a very smart move by the Kwame Scott machine. Again, like you mentioned, there is that level of trust between somebody like a Kwame Scott with Tate Lytle, with Tyler Fode. These are all guys that usually race each other really strong, but really smart and respectful. And you can see that kind of give and take out on the racetrack.
And I will say this. On lap 25, Tate's not going to use up any extra room. But eventually, Tate will say this pass has to be made. And he'll get far enough up there beside him where he'll feel like he can body him a little bit and slide up and use some of that track, because you got to make the pass at some point, And like I say, lap 25, you're fine. You're like, I'm not gonna wreck both of us. I believe is what Tate said. He's not gonna wreck them both right there. But there comes a point where you put it on the line and say, if that guy wants to wreck, I guess we'll wreck.
Absolutely. I mean, if it comes to it, you gotta do what you gotta do to get by. As we still see this battle going on with Garrison Hogan, with Josh Robin, and now Ethan Stanley. Garrison Hogan does finally break through as he's trying to chase down Josh Adams.
Between the 17 and the 15 down into 3.
Cameron Rich and Chad Frankenfield. Frankenfield, of course, didn't make too many friends last night in the Truck Series at Daytona Road Course. Moved a few people. May have dumped a person as well, as we see just about contact between Cameron Rich and Chad Frankenfield there.
So what happened last night with Chad? You want to enlighten those of us who missed that event?
Yeah, unfortunately, early on in the race, there was a little bit of contact between Chad Frankfield and Tyler Fode that sent Fode off the track. I believe Fode came back to win last night.
I think Fode won the race.
And then a little bit later on in the event, Ethan Burrell was the race leader. Chad was second. Kind of looked like Chad just didn't lift and drove right through Ethan. Ended Ethan's chance at victory. I think Ethan came back for 5th. And then later on, Chad was a lap car, had contact with Jess Story. Jess Story, of course, did not qualify for tonight's race. But, yeah, there was quite a bit of controversy last night in the Truck Series.
What did Ethan do to deserve to get ran over from the lead?
Honestly, I don't know that Chad meant to do it. Chad doesn't usually intent wreck people.
You just told me that he meant to do it. Like, you just told me that he kind of didn't hit the brakes.
Yeah, it kind of looked like he didn't hit the brakes. It might have been a difference in the braking points between those guys, but Chad's braking point was Ethan's back seat at that point. So,
man. Well, I don't believe Ethan's out here tonight. I think Ethan's schedule is pretty busy. He don't get to run all the races that he used to run.
No, Ethan unfortunately had to put his big boy pants on, do some adulting, and I think work or something. I guess that's part of being old and middle-aged and stuff. You gotta work.
You're calling Ethan old now?
Oh man, Ethan's old, man.
Ethan's we miss having Ethan out here, but man, oh man, I'm not going to call him old.
We love Ethan. He's a great guy. He's a great
guy. You're trying
guy.
to give him like the AARP already, man. Come on.
I got to be careful. He's my owner in the Truck Series, so.
I just got word you might be out of a job.
Well, I guess I'm going to Lake Norman. As we see a side-by-side battle, Chad Frankenfield and Ty McIntosh. Frankenfield moves up into the 8th spot. McIntosh back to 9th, looking to get to that rear bumper of Frankenfield. Nearly gives him a bit of a hello, how you doing right there on the back of the 15 car. As we look through the field, see what we can find for the closest battle that we do have. Looks like right here, David.
And there's
Tucker.
Josh Adams. Josh Adams about to try to break the top 10 here.
Josh Adams, like you mentioned there, 15th still. Just behind the Cameron Rich and David Tucker machines. Adams to the inside of Cameron Rich. Just ahead of them is David Tucker and Trey Holmes. Holmes running 12th now. Tucker there in 13th, just ahead of them. Ty McIntosh who just lost another spot to RC Anderson. Anderson up to 9th. Update on the biggest mover of the race, of course, Josh Adams in 14th, now tied with Garrison Hogan at plus 32 positions, as Hogan finds himself 2 spots behind Adams in the 16th spot. Battling here between Ty McIntosh and Jay Kaner as they battle for the final spot in that top 10. It is McIntosh with the upper edge right now. And for those of you keeping score here at home, Kwame Scott has stretched out his lead a little bit to 1.6 seconds over Tyler Fody, who has gotten by Tate Lytle. Scott Crump now up to 4th. He just got by Matthew Weeks. Nick Indelicato there in 6th. Jesse Rasmus in 7th. RC Anderson just got by Chad Frankenfield for 8th. Chad Frankenfield there in 9th. And Jay Kaner just ahead of Trey Holmes in 10th. Holmes 11th. Ty McIntosh 12th. Josh Adams just gained another spot on David Tooker. He's up to 13th. Tooker 14th. Cameron Rich 15th. And Garrison Hogan just behind him.
That's another car. You're going to have to update us again.
Josh Adams to the inside.
Oh, we got Harold Campbell spun around here. Oh, and he's going to get hit by the 33. Oh, and he's going to get hit by the 71.
Dave Carpenter, first caution of the night here. Lap number 39 of 100. Brandon Key, heavy damage. Dave Carpenter, heavy damage. Gerald Campbell might be okay. They're just ahead of the race leaders here. We'll take a look on the Rebilas photography replay machine and see what happened. Looks like Gerald Campbell may get help from Brent Jones. Yeah, Brent Jones. Is that Jones? Yeah, that is Brent Jones. Sends.
Look at this overcorrect, man.
The 31 of Campbell around. Campbell grabs the steering wheel, comes back up the racetrack. Nowhere. Oh my gosh. Look at Justin Vandermeer. He just got through that. Brandon Key gets in it. David Carpenter gets in it. Nothing that they could have done there. Tally issued to the 49 of Brent Jones. We have to ride on board with Justin Vandermarl here. As we're going to watch just ahead here, the incident starts now. There goes Gerald Campbell. Watch for him to correct up the track. Here he comes. Here he comes. Brandon Key right there ahead of Justin Vandermarl. Justin just squeaks by. Great job by Justin Vandermarl. Last week, he could not buy a break, and this week he's able to just squeak by. Probably needs a new pair of pants here, as pit lane should open this time to Kwame Scott and Tyler Fody. As here they come down pit road. I do believe everyone will follow them down here. Lap 40 of 100 here in the JD's Hilltop Salvage 150. Chris, we'll see who comes off pit road first right after we return from these. We are back here in the JD's Hilltop Salvage 150. That was our friends over at TA Services, one of our great premier partners here at the Elite Racing League. Another premier partner is, of course, Blue Egg Marketing, the marketing department for small businesses, small business owners. Blue Egg is your biggest fan. And of course, Worldwide Technology Raceway, formerly known as Gateway International Raceway and Gateway Motorsport Park, is a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri, and close to the Gateway Arch. featuring a 1.25 mile oval that hosts NASCAR, as well as the series that we cannot mention that races open wheel, as well as a 2-mile infield road course used by Trans Am, SCCA, and the Porsche Club of America, as well as a 1/4-mile NHRA drag strip that hosts the NHRA Drag Racing Midwest Nationals event annually, and of course the Kartplex, a state-of-the-art karting facility. Tonight's race is the JD's Hilltop Salvage 150. James Dewar is Goodrich's scrap metal authority with over 50 years of experience in an ever-changing industry. JD is the guy you want to call to get rid of your old junk, from washing machines that no longer work to decommissioned Boeing 747s. Set on top of the beautiful Goodrich Hill, JD's Hilltop Salvage is your go-to place with no job being too big or too small. And of course, this is the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series. Be sure to contact Mark Rebilas at rebilasphoto.com for all your photography needs. Chris, we are 42 laps in. Caution number 1 is out here on the race course. What are your thoughts here so far?
Well, I think it's been a pretty good race from a racing standpoint. We've had comers, we've had goers, we have had some good racing. And now, if we don't get another caution, we're going to have a fuel mileage race, because I believe this is just on the outside edge of the fuel window. Based on some people I'm talking to, they're going to top off and try to stretch it. A lot of people believe this is on the outside of the fuel window, unless they save pretty hard. And this is a fresh pave, so like I said, you're carrying a lot of throttle in 3 and 4. So if you're going to make it, you're about going to have to top off, because it's going to be really hard to save fuel under green here, especially through 3 and 4.
As you mentioned, a couple cars coming down pit road here. Joe Francis, Michael Goodman, and of course Jacob Adams right there. These guys all coming down for a splash of gas, and then they will work their way back onto the racing surface here, hoping to make it to the end of tonight's JD's Hilltop Salvage 150. Of course, lights are off on the iRacing.com pace car. Kwame Scott, Tate Lytle will lead them to the green flag with Matthew Weeks and Scott Crump there in row number 2. Then it's Tyler Fode and Nick Indelicato, followed by Chad Frankenfield and R.C. Anderson, as well as Jay Kaner and Trey Holmes in row number 5, rounding out the top 10. As a pace car heads into turn number 3, we'll get going green here in just a moment. But for those of you just joining us, we did just have our first caution of the day. Unfortunately, Gerald Campbell, with a little bit of contact from Brent Jones, sent the Campbell machine around. Gerald, unfortunately, overcorrected a little bit back up in front of Brandon Key, as well as Dave Carpenter, causing heavy damage to those two machines. And I do believe Gerald may be done for the day as well. As the pace car about to come down pit road, we'll hand it back to Barney the Flagman to get us going once again, Chris.
Yeah, and one thing here, these guys, nobody in the front 25. Nobody in the front 25 came in and topped off. So that tells me that they either don't think they can make it, or they don't believe that there's any way they go caution free the rest of the race. As Kwame gets way away, Tate, big
Lytle
wiggle
off the
there.
track.
Tate.
This may get hairy right here.
Oh, and Josh Adams losing a ton of spots down the backstretch, getting passed on either side.
3 wide, Nick Indelicato in the middle, Jay Kaner on the bottom, Tate Lytle up top. Kaner blinks a little bit on the bottom. They get back to 2 wide. Tate Lytle still chasing that number 2 Days Gone By machine, as he's going to fall back nearly out.
Contact up at the front with Fode, I believe.
Oh, Scott Crump around.
And Crump's around.
And I just heard a, come on, Chad. So Chad Frankenfield's week continues here. That looks like it could have been a huge mess, as we take a look on the Rebilas Photography replay machine and see what just happened to Scott Crump. Watching Tyler Fode on the outside, looks like Chad Frankenfield to the bottom here. I don't know, Chris. I'm not too sure there.
Here's what I think, okay? I'm going to speak my opinion, and might be.
Welcome to Right or Wrong here on the Elite Racing Network with your host, Chris Wright.
I think on this lap, at this point in the race, it might be a little early for a dive bomb, especially when you're all inside the top 5. I feel like Chad maybe didn't have to be there, but at the same time, he did. He was down there. Scott knew he was there, tried to give him room. Fody was trying to give Fody didn't give a whole lot of room really there. But Chad did, I think, clip the white line. I think if we look at the replay there, I think Chad clipped that white line a little bit and came up.
It definitely did look like Chad clipped the white line. It was close. I mean, there was a little bit of room that the guys on the outside could have gone up a bit. I don't think Crump could have done anything different whatsoever, as we see a bunch of guys coming down pit road here for top-ups. But,
yeah, Scott Crump was in a terrible spot there. You know,
he's getting pinched from the high side. He has a car diving to the inside. Scott was basically doomed from the start of that corner, as nothing he could have done except maybe back out. But at that point, really, he had the advantage over the Frankenfield machine. So it'll be interesting to see how race controller Nick Massey scores this one. I'm not really sure. What would your call be, Chris?
My call would be a racing deal. That would be where I would go with it, because it wasn't Scott's fault. It wasn't Fody's fault. If I had to blame somebody, honestly, I would blame Chad if I had to blame somebody. But at the same time, that was kind of a racing move. It wasn't. I don't know. Chad's the guy that clipped the apron and washed up.
As you see right there, tally issued to the 15 of Chad Frankenfield. So, yeah, I guess Nick Massey opted to go the route of assigning that to Chad Frankenfield. Of course, all tallies are appealable if the drivers think that they may have been scored incorrectly, as the lights are still on the iRacing.com pace car.
Yeah, I don't see that getting overturned, because Chad hit the apron. Chad hit the white line and washed up. It was just a little bit, but you made the 3 wide move. You kind of got to hold your line. You can't wash up. So that's where I stand on it. I would stand between a racing deal and the 15, but if you're gonna blame somebody, it is the 15.
So it's showing me here that Wesley Crump. Okay, Wesley just had a big blink. That's all that was. It was indicating that Wesley Crump had some sort of a collision there. I actually do want to point something out here that I'm noticing, and I'm not sure if you noticed this. Look at the right front on that number 15 machine of Frankenfield. That thing is all kinds of jacked up. I wonder if this will play any sort of an effect on that handling, as we try to see if we can see that damage. We'll go to the gearbox camera of Kwame Scott. Yeah, you can just see that right front is not sitting right on the kick in the tires, number 15.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I just don't understand the move when you're inside the top 5 when we're just now approaching halfway. You know, I don't think it was a necessary move to make. But at the same time, it's a race. He thought he had to make that move right there. I don't know. You know, I feel like the more I look at it, the more I think if you're going to make the move, you got to hold your line. You can't get down there and hit the apron and come up and wreck a guy.
No, I totally agree with you on that, Chris. I think it's the right call by race controller Nick Massey here tonight. And, of course, I think once Chad sees it as well, he may agree with that. We are going to be 51 laps remaining, so 1 lap short of the halfway point when we go green here. Actually, I guess we will be at the halfway point, lap 50 of 100 in the JD's Hilltop Salvage 150 once we do go green. Of course, Kwame Scott, Chad Frankfield on the front row, Matthew Weeks, Jay Kaner, Nick Indelicato, top 5. Tate Lytle, R.C. Anderson, Cameron Rich, Trey Holmes, and here he is, Josh Adams, inside the top 10 now, as the pace car about to make that left-hand turn onto pit road. We'll hand it over to the flagman Barney here to get us going green. Green flag in hand as we wait for the pace car. There he goes down pit road. The field about to enter the Geico restart zone. Kwame Scott will get on the loud pedal, and he does, as here we go.
I'm going to tell you, that outside line is not taking off good tonight. I haven't seen a car on the outside yet get a good takeoff.
As you see, it looks like Chad's struggling a little bit there.
He is way up the track, almost into the side of the 17.
Yeah, it does look like a little bit of craziness here early on, as you see Cameron Rich just ahead of the RC Anderson machine, just ahead of him. Tate Lytle, Jay Kaner up on the high side as well. Chad Frankenfield. You really have to wonder how long Chad may be up there with the damage he has. We have a little bit of a blink up there at the front, which caused a little bit of chaos. As we see Tate Lytle.
Chaos.
That was some chaos.
Chaos in iRacing.
That was some chaos,
in an elite
Chris.
race, no such thing as chaos. What are you talking about?
No such thing whatsoever. I want to watch David Tooker right here. He's doing a great job on the bottom, trying to work his way back up into the top 10. Just behind. Oh, Josh Adams with a slide.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Wow. What a catch by Josh Adams there. That guy is having a crazy race here tonight.
Tell you what, his tires, he just took 10 laps off the tire life right there.
100%. We'll ride on board here with Nick and Delicato, as I thought he was about to look 3 wide, as he's battling side by side with RC Anderson now. Anderson to the high side, chasing down the Cameron Rich car. Cameron Rich now just up inside that top 5, just gets by Jay Kaner. Actually, Jay Kaner has a bit of an edge here. Cameron should get a bit of pull off of the Tate Lytle machine and be able to make a little bit of a run there. Kwame Scott still leading Chad Frankenfield. Look a little bit further back in the field. Looks like Brent Jones 3 wide there with, it was Josh Robbins and Brandon Ultra. Here comes Jake Adams, Justin Vandermeerl on the bottom. Tyler Pop re-entering the picture.
We nearly had a big issue down into 1 here. RC's about 17 lanes up in 1 and 2 right now.
RC Anderson trying to run the fence literally there.
I believe there was some contact. I believe the 9, the 17, and the 50 either came together or all had a very close meeting down into 1, and they all just kind of went a different direction when they got there.
I'm sure it was an important subject that they were meeting about, Chris. But yeah, that looked like it got a bit hairy up there in the front. Speaking of hairy, it's time for your Harrison Talon mid-race update. Harrison currently running 24th back here in the number 51 DoorDash machine, just chasing down Kynan Jones. Just behind him is Wesley Crump. So Harrison Talon doing a nice job back there in the mid-20s. Back to the front.
Yeah, Josh Adams is trying to make some more passes again after his near issue.
Josh Adams is having one crazy race here tonight, Chris, as he's been able to slide through the grass, slide on the racetrack, slide around high lane, low lane, middle lane. Here he is on the inside of RC. Wow.
I think what
that was a
happened there,
power
RC
move.
was trying to make a move on the 9 and kind of stalled out with his momentum, and Josh seen a hole and went for it.
That was a power move right there, Chris, by Josh Adams. Incredible skill on display right now.
Now, I think, like I said, the 50 just lost his momentum. Let's not give Josh too much credit there. It looked cooler than it probably actually was. Oh, he's going to make the same move on the 9. The 9 pitches him off. Josh is into the 9. There's a wreck. Josh is involved. Oh, we're going to have more involved here. I'll tell you this. I think Josh had the broadcast in his ear or something, and he was feeling pretty good about himself. And he got down in there, and that was just a move you didn't need to make it. He's so good on the long run, and now he's damaged his own car, spun the 9. I don't hate the call. There's not a whole lot of laps on the tires. You were running at the back. You topped off. Hey, they're calling that a racing deal, by the way. I'm not sure I agree with that. Josh is a good friend of mine, but I still think he came off the track pretty far to cause that wreck, if I had to say.
Yeah, that's I'm not sure. Racing incident, no tallies by Nick Massey. I don't know about that one, man.
I wonder if he
That's
owes
tough.
Josh money and he hopes this takes some of it out or something, you know?
We'll have to ask Nick Massey that one a bit later. As Jake Adams,
I personally think Nick should come up here and tell us every tally that's issued and why he felt the need to issue that tally. I think that's something maybe we could enjoy going forward.
you want to bring Nick Massey into the booth?
I don't think Nick Massey would like that.
Let's see. We'll see if he'll talk to you. There you go, Chris.
Well, we are now joined in the booth by Nick Massey, apparently. Nick, kind of busy with the tallies tonight. Want to talk us through the last one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I looked at it real quick, and I felt like it's a late move by the 56 of Josh Adams, and the 9 just wasn't ready to give that room down there. And yeah, I just thought just a racing deal.
Well, okay, then what about I feel like that one and the 15 was pretty similar. So why issue a tally to the 15 and not the 56?
I just thought it was too late for. Sorry, I'm getting chatted here in admin chat. But yeah, I just felt like there wasn't really enough room for that 9 to leave him enough room down there. It's kind of a late move. He maybe had a little bit of time, but it was kind of I don't know. In my opinion, the 9 had maybe a little bit of time to come off the bottom, give him room last second. But Scott Crump in the middle with the 15, and Chad Frankfield really didn't have that option because he had Fody on the outside. So I just felt like in this situation, warranted a racing deal.
So how busy have you been tonight? Are you like in your new position?
It was pretty calm for the first 40 laps or so, but business has picked up here in the last 20. Having to make some calls. But
overall from the whole season, what job did you enjoy more? The one here in the booth with me or this officiating stuff?
I'll tell you. I mean,
it's a lot less stressful up here, I believe.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. You definitely newfound respect for these officials up here in the booth. We're out here driving, having fun, and these guys have to get in pretty tough spots making these calls sometimes. Sometimes it's tough depending on somebody. You call a racing deal, and like last week with the pit road incident with Josh Adams and Jay Canner there. Lots of people felt differently, but I felt it was just a racing deal coming to pit road. So not everybody's going to agree, and that's okay. That's why we have the appeal system. Like, I don't think Chad agreed with that call I made 15 laps ago on him down there going to turn 1.
I don't think so either. He was real quick to say he didn't agree with me.
Yeah.
Well, we are about half a lap from green here. Nick, thanks for coming up and joining us. And we do miss you up here, where we get to voice our opinions, and it really doesn't have any bearing on the race until afterwards when the driver gets upset with what I've said up here. But it's a lot of fun, and good luck to you, and hopefully it calms down a little bit the rest of the racing season for you, but I don't think it's gonna.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, man. It was looking good. I was getting pretty excited there. For first 40 laps, they were flying by. No calls had to be made. And I've been having to look at restarts and all these caution flag, so hopefully it calms down a little bit here as we close this thing out.
I don't know, man. Hearing the 15 and the 90 go back and forth, I think it's getting ready to get.
Yeah. We'll see. Alrighty, thanks, guys.
All right, green is out. Jacob Adams is going to get away clean here, staying out. We will see how this works out for Jake. Kwame Scott's already going to the inside of Jacob Adams.
That was a nice visit by Nick Massey there. Come by and explain a little bit of
Yeah,
his...
and the difference
oh my
is in
gosh.
his job. Oh, we're under yellow. Oh, it is the 20. Oh, and we're wrecking
Oh,
here
that's
under
big.
yellow. RC, the 32 is going to get churned. Oh, and we're still wrecking. I believe that's the 85 and the 12 coming in involved. We got 3 wrecks. We got a yellow. Then
We just got
a
cars
red.
everywhere.
Yeah, we got everything going on here.
Let's take a look.
Nick was just here. He's getting ready to have to take about 10 minutes to look at replays right here.
Yeah, we're going to be under a red flag for 2 hours as Nick Massey figures out what in the world just happened. We'll take a look on the Rebilas Photography replay machine.
We're going to start with the 45 of Brandon Ultra. That's the trigger car for the caution wreck.
Let me find
so you
Brandon
know.
Ultra here.
Yeah, the caution came out off of 2. Yeah, their caution's behind this 45, but that was the trigger
Somebody's
car.
in the wall right there ahead of him.
Yeah, it's
The
behind
80
him.
car
The
of Josh Smith.
caution comes out behind him.
Here we go.
So the 45 is going to get right here. He's going to have to lose a bunch of momentum when he gets sideways. He gets checked up, gets hit. They check up behind him. That spins the 21. Caution's out at this point. We get down here. I don't know. We'll have to look at that right there. I don't know what happened to that black car.
That's Jesse Rasmus. Oh, looks like
Okay,
he had
so
help from Tyler Pop.
I think the caution came out, and he just immediately checked up, and the 13 hits him. If I had to guess, that's going to be what happens, because the caution should be out at that point.
We'll watch this caution. Well, that won't really help us much. Yeah,
It's
here
the
we go.
caution
Yeah,
light,
no,
yeah.
you're 100% right.
Okay, and he gets turned, and that's a wreck there. But we also...
How did Dustin
at
get
the
involved
same-
now?
The 50. I think it's up there further. The 50 of RC is going to hit Dustin, because Dustin, I think, is going to immediately check up. Okay, so we should get the caution coming out about now.
There
Caution
we go.
and contact.
What in the world? Good job by everyone on missing Dustin there, but whew, that was crazy, right there. It's
So we had the caution, and then we had 2 separate incidents of guys checking up when the caution came out.
tally issued to the 50 of RC.
I don't think I agree with that. I think Nick doesn't realize that the 21 got spun back there. The 21 was the caution. If you want to give the 50 a caution penalty, you could.
The incident with RC, I believe, was the 3rd incident of that sequence.
Yeah.
That one may get overturned by race control themselves once Nick actually sees more of the incident there. That one's tough. We are 35 laps to go here. Kwame Scott leading Jake Adams in the JD's Hilltop Salvage 150. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we'll And we are back here in the JD's Hilltop Salvage 150. That was our friends at TA Services, great premier partner here in the Elite Racing League, as well as Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg is the marketing department for small businesses, small business owners. Blue Egg is your biggest fan. They help businesses punch above their weight class. of course, Worldwide Technology Raceway as well. Worldwide Technology Raceway is a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri, and close to the Gateway Arch. Home to a 1.25-mile oval, a 2-mile road course, as well as a quarter-mile drag strip, and a state-of-the-art karting facility. Check out Worldwide Technology Raceway today. Get your tickets for the upcoming races this season as well. JD's Hilltop Salvage is the sponsor of today's race, the JD's Hilltop Salvage 150. James Dewar is Goodrich's scrap metal authority with over 50 years of experience in an ever-changing industry. JD is the guy you want to call to get rid of your old junk, from washing machines that no longer work to decommissioned Boeing 747s. Set on top of the beautiful Goodrich Hill, JD's Hilltop Salvage is your go-to place with no job being too big or too small. This is the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series. Be sure to head over to rebilasphoto.com for all your photo needs. Be sure to tell Mark that Elite Racing Network sent you over and check him out today. Back on the racetrack, Kwame Scott, Jake Adams, Matthew Weeks, Chad Frankfield, Tate Lytle. Top 5, Josh Adams, R.C. Anderson, Cameron Rich, Garrison Hogan, and Latham Joyner. Rounding out the top 10, we are lap 66 coming to 67, so 34 laps remaining when we go green here. Pace car about to make the left-hand turn onto pit road. We'll send it down now to Barney the Flagman to get us going green here once again as we await the pace car to come down pit road. Barney does have the green flag in hand here as Kwame Scott and Jake Adams will head down towards the Geico restart zone. And Chris, we are underway. Here we go.
We got the bottom. The top is just stacked hard on these restarts every time. I mean, I understand Jake's on old tires and somebody might blame him for that, but we haven't seen anybody take off on that top side all night.
Top side definitely has struggled all night long as Kwame Scott does get out ahead of Matthew Weeks and Tate Lytle. Jake Adams, Chad Frankenfield here. Tally has just been issued to the 13 of Tyler Pop. Believe that does take us back to the previous incident. As we see here, Jake and Josh Adams battling on the bottom. I think Josh was thinking about going 3 wide on his brother, but thought better of it. That would be for the 5th position, as Jake now just ahead of Josh. Josh on the rear bumper of the Jake Adams machine, trying to work his way through. Chad Frankenfield up there on the high side, as well as Cameron Rich. That is, of course, the closest battle up here, as Kwame Scott has a slight gap over Tate Lytle and a little bit more over Matthew Weeks as the rest of the field tries to work their way through.
Yeah, and right now Jake's on a little bit older tires, so he's going to be a little bit in the way here. Oh, Garrison sideways, going to catch it. Wow.
Garrison Hogan falling back through the middle.
Struggling for grip on the short run. Because that's not the first car tonight that we have seen get sideways. And who is in that black car up there, the 03, that just...
That is Latham Joyner.
The 3rd or 4th lane and passed 5 cars down in 3 and 4.
That is Latham Joyner. Look at Garrison Hogan now, working his way up to the high side. I don't think that's on purpose, though.
Latham is still passing cars. He is still rocketing in that top side.
Latham Joyner into the back bumper of Jacob Adams. Nearly contact with R.C. Anderson there. That is for the 8th position. R.C. currently trying to get by Latham Joyner. Joyner now works his way up into 8th.
Tate Lytle.
Tate Lytle does get out ahead of Kwame Scott as we're looking at the battle back there for 8th. Matthew Weeks looks like he's about to have company with Chad Frankenfield just behind him. Here comes Kwame Scott on the bottom. 30 laps remaining, coming to 29 here, Chris. Things are indeed heating up here at Texas, and one thing we didn't do earlier on that I think now would be a good time to do. Let's make some race picks here, Chris. Who's your pick to take home the victory here tonight?
My pick is going to be the first car that crosses the checker flag.
That is a great pick. So Chris picks this guy, the start-finish line.
I don't know, man. Kwame's been tough tonight, but I think Tate might be and may have been a little better. I do think we're going to get some cautions towards the end here that are going to change the strategies up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, with all the cautions that come out and all the strategies that get changed, I'm going to say Tate Lytle wins the race.
Tate Lytle, his 100th career Grand National Series start tonight. Would love to pick up a victory.
All that talk about yellows coming and everything, and I'm going to pick the guy that's leading the thing.
Yeah, 100%. Of course, it never fails. I'm going to go with somebody that has been just absolutely ripping up this racetrack tonight. Up 40 spots from his starting position. I'm going to go with Josh Adams right here in the 56. What a drive by Adams so far in this event, and he's just about to break his way into the top 5.
I'm telling you what, looking at that 15 and 17, you see those two cars right now on screen? That almost, if anybody that's watching, and maybe even you too, Robert, you've seen that meme where it's copying your homework and just change it a little bit? That's what that looks like. Those schemes are so similar. It looks like, here, copy what I got, but just change it, just tweak a few things so it doesn't look like you copy.
Hey, they don't look alike at all. What are you talking about? As we see the 17 of Cameron Rich driving for Mountain Man Motorsports, looking to work his way up onto a podium spot here just behind Matthew Weeks. We're about to get 25 to go, which is Alex Ned's favorite moment of the race when that ticker ticks over. There it is, 25 laps remaining, and this battle for the lead about to heat up.
I'm going to tell you what, back around Jake Adams right now, he is definitely kind of in the way on his old. He's hoping for a yellow to get a chance to come in and try to maybe be the first guy that gets tires or right there in that front group. That they were stacked up behind him a little bit right there.
Yeah, Jake Adams now back into 15th position. Just behind him is Nick Indelicato and Josh Robin looking to get by. Tyler Fode back there as well, trying to work his way back up to the front.
Yeah, how long do you think Johnny Morris is going to keep pumping money into that 52 machine? I don't think he wants a car that's going to run mid-pack to back of the pack there. I think Jake is going to have to step it up.
Jake is definitely going to step it up as we have a battle for second here, Chris. That is Matthew Weeks and Kwame Scott battling for second.
Yeah. How hard is Kwame going to fight Matthew here? You kind of lost the lead. You don't want to give up too many spots, especially if you think it's going to go green to the end. But how hard do you fight? And
if you're Tate Lytle, this is what you want to see right now. You want these guys to be wearing out their stuff behind you, as this is one heck of a battle, because they're not only battling for second, but they're staying right there with Tate as well, even though they are battling as Matthew Weeks almost ends up in the grass.
Earlier. We saw Kwame pinch Tate quite a bit earlier. That we're not on lap 25 anymore. We're at 25 to go.
And to be fair, I think someone like Tate is more forgiving than Matthew Weeks. I think Matthew not really one to give up that space as he nearly gets into Kwame right there. I think someone like Matthew is much more likely to just not move. He's not going to give you that line like Tate may earlier on.
Well, and earlier on, you had the ability to give it up and be okay, too. Like, right now, you can't check up. If you check up and force yourself to lose spots, that's not what you want. As Kwame is taking a look here at the leader, something must have happened to Josh Adams there, losing 2 spots.
Yeah, it was a little bit of 3 wide action as you see Josh Adams up on the rear end of the Latham Joyner machine. I think there's a little bit of right front damage on that 56.
Yeah, well,
that's from his earlier incident. That's correct.
Yeah.
Good call there. As R.C. Anderson, David Tooker, Latham Joyner are ahead of Matthew Weeks. Here we go. They are going by Kynan Jones. Jones was an innocent bystander in an earlier incident. Unfortunately for him, he's going to be scored around the 40th position. As you see, Tate Lytle
71 right behind him. It's we got the 9 car around here on the front stretch. We are going to get a yellow. Remember those late cautions I was talking about?
Brandon Ultra also had an incident. He finds himself on pit road here. Let's take a look.
Scott Crump got a piece of this as well.
Let's take a look on the Rebilas photography replay machine. I see the Hux machine right here. What did old Dave commission?
Oh, that's not good for the Hux machine here.
Wyatt up into the outside of Brandon Ultra. Sends Ultra around. Let's jump to the 9 of Jake Kaner. I'm going to back that up. I think Scott Crump did get a piece of that. Ooh, just barely. But barely can be enough to end your chances here. That is very, very unfortunate. Jake Kaner, Brandon Ultra caught up in an incident, as well as the Hux machine of Wyatt Canadle. They were up just outside the top 20, I do believe, as we will be about 15 laps to go when we go green again. Top 10 currently Tate Lytle, Kwame Scott, Matthew.
Okay, here we go, Robert. I want to ask you this here.
Sure.
Before they get to pit road. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I want 4. I'm coming for 4.
I think I'm coming for 4 if I'm part of this top 5, top 10 right now. If I'm not part of the top 10.
Oh, Fody. Fody just stayed out.
Fody stays out. He's the only one, I do believe, that will stay out in the entire field.
I might try too.
Goodman as well stays out. Dustin Dewar, Johnny Thomas. I don't know. I might try 2 here. See if I can gain something. It really depends on the wear that these guys are seeing. No tally net code in that last incident. I want to watch the race off pit road here.
Here we go. We got a 2-tire taker. Who was that? That's 2 tires on the first car off pit road.
That was RC Anderson. RC Anderson, Tate Lytle, Kwame Scott, Matthew Weeks, Garrison Hogan, Cameron Rich, Nick Indelicato, David Tooker, Latham Joyner, Josh Adams, Ethan Stanley, Chad Frankfield, Trey Holmes, John Cutlip, Ty McIntosh, Josh Robin, Kynan Jones, Harrison Talon, Andrew Rucker, and the rest of the field. As Tyler Fody stays out, Mike Goodman stays out, Dustin Dewar stays out, as does Johnny Thomas, RC Anderson on 2 tires, and I think the rest of the field is on 4 tires.
70 a lapper? It is. Okay.
The 71? Or the 70 of Jesse Rasmus, yes.
Yeah.
He is a lap car. Could be very interesting to see how cars like Goodman and Dewar hold up here on the old tires. I mean, you sometimes have to throw the dart at the dartboard, see what you can get. And I got to give credit to the Duga guys here. This may be a good strategy that gets you a better finish. Do I think it holds on for a top 5, even top 10? No. But I think it might get you a better finish than what you were having. What do you think about this call, Chris, by guys like Goodman, like Dewar, Johnny Thomas, even Tyler Fody?
I think for Fody, I would have probably pitted and got 4. He was up to around the top 10. I would have at least came and got 2. The other guys, I don't know how many sets of tires they have left. They might not have any left, or they might just have 1. And if you only have 1 left and you don't think this is going to be the last yellow, maybe you think, hey, at 5, we're going to run to 5 to go and get a yellow. Well, you have 10 lap fresher tires, you pit. I don't know. I don't feel like that's the call. We'll see.
Definitely tough, and definitely something we're going to have to watch here.
I can confirm Michael Goodman has 1 set left lane in the pits.
You know, if we get a caution in about 10 laps, maybe some guys think about coming down if they do have any tires left, and it pays off for Michael Goodman.
Are you going to be able to pass 30? There's 39 cars out here on the lead lap. Can you pass 39 cars in 5 laps? I mean,
I could, but I definitely could not, Chris. But you never know. I mean, you still gain a bunch of spots at this point, and that's more what I think guys like Goodman and Dewar are trying to do. I don't know necessarily that they think they have a piece to win. If somehow they pull this off, I mean, that's a magical strategy.
I'll tell you what, if anybody who stayed out's going to win, Dustin Dewar is going to have to make that thing as wide as a 747.
He has one, so it wouldn't surprise me.
He just has one, though?
Yeah.
Well, if you have one, why not get two?
So Tyler Fode takes the high side here, Chris. That also a little interesting because the high side has not been able to get going much at all tonight.
Well, here's what's happened. He doesn't want to kill the outside. Fode doesn't. He needs all those guys on old tires to take off good and be in the preferred lane. Because he needs as many cars between him and the first car on 4, which is Tate, as he can get, and for as long as he can get. So this is a little bit of what did Daryl try to call it? Co-opetition.
Co-opetition, I do believe, is correct. That's one heck of a term. This is gonna be interesting here. Definitely something to watch. As the pace car about to make the left-hand turn on to pit road, we'll hand it back to Barney. The flagman, green flag is in hand, waiting on the Fode and Goodman machines to come into the Geico restart zone. We're gonna actually watch this one from back here, just for any sort of wheel spin. There's a little bit on the Goodman machine.
A little bit on that Dustin Dewar machine. We're gonna go 3 wide, down into 1.
Here we go. Oh, there we go. Matthew Weeks around. Oh, no. Matthew Weeks, Dustin Dewar. Ooh, that was not what these guys were hoping for.
That was the 17 of Cameron Rich.
I think Dusty got loose, though. Let's take a look on the Rebilas photography replay machine and see what just occurred here. Watching the 11 of Matthew Weeks. Looks like Dustin gets into the side of RC. Yeah, it was contact from Cameron Rich into the side of the Weeks machine. Yeah, tally issued to Cameron Rich there. Sends Matthew Weeks around. Oh, heavy hit for Jay Kaner right there into the side of the Weeks machine. David Tooker almost got a big piece of that. As here comes Kaner right through the Matthew Weeks car. Brandon Ultra spinning again. That guy cannot buy a break here. As Matthew Weeks definitely going to be heavily damaged at this point and most likely out of any sort of contention. I can almost guarantee it, actually, as we'll be less than 10 laps to go when we go green. Once again, Tyler Fode is out in front over Johnny Thomas, Michael Goodman, R.C. Anderson, Dustin Dewar, the top 5, Kwame Scott, Tate Lytle, Nick and Delicato, Cameron Rich, and David Tooker, the top 10. Chris, this changes things a little bit.
This helps Fode. This helps those guys that stayed out a lot. Helps Fode the most, being the leader, getting to try to get away. Johnny Thomas, Michael Goodman, our front 3 still didn't pit, and then you got 2 tires in 4th, which isn't terrible spot, and then you got no tires back in 5th again. So your first car on 4 tires, while it's no longer Tate Lytle, it is now Kwame Scott, is still in position 6. So this is great. Great for Fode. This makes him look like way smart right here.
100% definitely does make him look smart. As we'll see if this pays off for Tyler Fode. I mean, if they string a couple cautions in a row and it gives Tyler Fode the opportunity to just have a short run to the end, we could definitely see that 40 machine potentially stealing the victory tonight again. Anyone on 4 tires has to work their way through the top 5 right now, with Johnny Thomas, Mike Goodman, and Dustin Dewar, as well as Tyler Fode on old tires, R.C. Anderson on 2 tires, and then the rest of the field mostly on their final set of 4 tires, having to work their way up. So very interesting to see what's about to develop here. We are at 11 laps remaining. Lights are still on the pace car, so that means we'll likely go green with about 9 laps remaining in the event, which will go by rather quickly if we stay under green.
Yeah, one thing here, 9 laps to go, coming from 6th, that's going to be a tough order. If there's not another caution and Kwame and Tate take off and they get choked up again in the first corner, Man, it's going to be hard to run down Tyler Fode because he's going to have good pace. Johnny Thomas is no slouch. Goodman, we don't see him at the front a ton, but I'm sure he could get it done. Dustin Dewar's there, and you got to navigate RC on 2 tires. I just think, man, you need to go green from here if you're Kwame or Tate or anybody on 4 tires who thinks they have a shot, because one more caution and you have to restart on that 3rd row again. I just don't see it. Time is running out, and every caution is letting the tires cool for Tyler Fode. So right now, he's going to be better this now than he already was if it would have went from the last time.
That's a great point as well when it comes to the tire temperatures. Those are definitely having the opportunity to come down a little bit, cool off, and get back to the point where, it may be a bit more manageable here at Texas. Of course, Tyler Fode leading with Johnny Thomas alongside him. Lights are off on the iRacing.com pace car. Looks like I said 9 laps to go when we go green, Chris. This is about to get even more interesting than what we've seen so far. I think some of these guys are going to be trying to force their way up through these guys on the older tires. That may lead to more cautions. I'm going to ask you right now, do you think we're done with that caution flag here tonight? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think we have at least 2 more in us.
Do you notice Fode has now picked the bottom because he wants that 44-32 to get a launch. He trusts Johnny to be able to get a launch. This is, again, working against those guys on 4 tires. Fode is trying to put himself in the best spot where those guys on 4 tires are going to have the biggest struggle to get to him.
This is going to be really, really interesting to follow along on this restart. We're going to watch the pace car go down here as we follow the Fode machine on the inside of Johnny Thomas. Right behind him, Michael Goodman, Dustin Dewar. On the high side, of course, Thomas with R.C. Anderson and Kwame Scott behind him. Will ride along here as we watch the number 40 machine get a jump on the restart. Here we go.
Green is out.
A little bit of wheel spin by the 44 and the 32.
And that just killed Tate. But one thing that did happen right there is the 99 got a pretty good launch.
As you can see, side by side now, Kwame Scott, Michael Goodman, Dustin Dorr falling back 3 wide in the middle. Looks like they'll all make it through back up front. It is sort of single filed out for the top 3 now. R.C. Anderson looking to the outside of Johnny Thomas. Johnny Thomas stepping out.
R.C. gets loose on 2 tires.
Jacob Adams around.
Oh, we're wrecking. Jake Adams.
Jacob Adams on the front straightaway. We'll take a look on the Rebilas photography replay machine. Looks like he has no rear end there.
Oh, it looks like, oh man. I believe that the 64 was 3 wide, tried to come down a little bit. The 18
a little bit of contact with Josh Purse. Oh! Wow. Did you just see that, Chris?
Yeah, that car's completely destroyed coming back to the shop, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
You got to write a big check for that one.
Wow. Johnny Morris, get on the phone with my people right now. Let's ride on board with Jake Adams. Whoa, what a hit. Who was behind him here? I want to see that. Looks like, who would have had a good view? The 16? I think Wesley Crump.
Oh, and we have wrecked under the yellow. Oh my goodness. The wreck was, I believe, the 18. The 18 got into the side of the 64, got Jacob Adams, but the yellow came out and the 17 gets. Oh, there was contact between the 88 and 32. Sent the 32 down into the 17, and the 17 hits the wall head on, and that's a destroyed car.
Let's take a look here.
I mean, the yellow had been out for a long time at this point. Why is the 88 even driving up alongside the 32?
Let's see when the caution comes out, and then we'll hop back over there.
I'm just not sure what was going on there under the caution.
We're just waiting for the caution lights to pop on here. There's the Jake Adams wreck. Caution lights are out. We come back to the 32. Caution's been out for a little bit here.
What's the 88 even driving up alongside him for?
Contact 3288. There goes the 17. Just absolutely gets hooked.
This just makes no sense to me why we're wrecking after the caution is out. I mean, this is the second time we've seen this tonight. Third time overall. Second time, the other one was on the same yellow. I just don't understand what we're doing under yellow here.
That's something we're going to have to wait and see from the race controller, Nick Massey, here to see what he has to say. That's now 2 of my cars in one caution sequence, so that's unfortunate.
Something with Scott Crump's in-car here I don't follow, but I've been told we need to maybe get an in-car shot of him, maybe for one of the wrecks here.
Sure,
Not sure if it's the initial caution.
Let's go back to the incident with Jake Adams, and we'll ride on board with Scott Crump. We could just stay on board with Crump. He's right behind it, so I think he's definitely going to see it. Scott Crump's on board here. Taking a look. Wow. Okay. Okay, Scott. Have yourself a ride. Nice job.
Okay, and then we're going to get down here, and he's going to see the 17 get turned too, right?
He must, but good job by Scott Crump right here. Avoids Wide Canadal, avoids his brother, avoids Andrew Rucker, and then we come along. Scott checks up.
Everybody's slowing down.
And there goes Cameron Rich.
What are we doing? See, this just... what is happening? Are these guys just not paying attention? I just don't get it.
Just very, very confusing as to what just happened. I'm not honestly sure.
I mean, that wasn't even right after the caution came out. The caution, you had plenty of time for... the caution happened back in turn 4, and we're wrecking down here in turn 1. What is happening? Just don't get it. I don't... I mean, can you explain what's going on to me?
If I could, I would. As we are now coming around to go green. Again, we'll have 4 laps remaining when we do go green as we enter the back straightaway here. Tyler Fody, Johnny Thomas, R.C. Anderson, Kwame Scott, Mike Goodman, Nick Delicato, David Tooker, Tate Lytle, Garrison Hogan, Latham Joyner, all in the top 10 here. Tally was issued to the 64 of Andrew Rucker. That's the initial contact with the Jacob Adams machine. We'll see if anything else comes out of that
we're
caution.
We're gonna have 4 to go. Fody and Johnny Thomas are on no tires. RC's on 2, and that's gonna be really loose. And we got the 99 at the P4. And the 99 has now put himself in a spot he can win from 4th. If he does everything right here, and then the 44 is in 5th on no tires. So this is pivotal. This is Fody's race now on this restart, trying to get through the gears in a good launch.
As we see the
out.
field coming
Great
around,
launch.
here we go.
What a launch. Tate's once again just stuck in the lane that doesn't get the good launch.
Tate Lytle, Kwame Scott, both kind of trapped there.
He's going to get stuck.
Oh, we're about to wreck here.
And that is big good news for Fody.
Wow, we actually
3 wide.
did not wreck.
The guys with 4 tires are all 3 wide now with each other. Or 3 wide, not 4 wide, I'm sorry.
There we go. Johnny Thomas on the bottom, Latham Joyner in the middle, Kwame Scott on the high side.
I don't think RC can do it on 2 tires.
Tyler Fody and RC have broken through, but this is a battle 3 wide for 3rd through 5th. Oh, this is going to be bad.
Oh, wow.
That's incredible.
Here we go. This is the race for the win. Fody's going to have to make that thing pretty wide.
Kwame Scott's still got a great shot here. Kwame's coming. Here comes RC Anderson to the race lead. Latham Joyner right there as well, Chris.
2 to go. Here comes David Tooker as well.
David Tooker joining the picture. Do we make it around to the white flag? I don't know. Tyler Fode, his chance is just about over here. He's going to fall back. It is R.C. Anderson trying to hold off Kwame Scott, trying to get to the white flag, which I think is a big ask as well. Here's Kwame on the bottom, almost into the rear of the R.C. Anderson machine. R.C. coming around. If he takes the white flag, next flag will, of course, end the race. White flag in the air. R.C. Anderson. Here's
Here
Richard
comes
Clayton
Kwame.
out front. Kwame looking to the bottom with Latham Joyner right behind him. Richard Clayton's got to make this car extra wide.
Big run off a 2 for Kwame. He's going to have a shot down here.
As we're going to head up to the blimp, we'll see.
He's going to go to the
Oh, he
RC,
turns
tries to
him.
block the bottom,
He turns him.
and we're wrecking. We're wrecking here at the front.
Wow.
Oh,
Garrison
he's hit.
turns
Yeah,
Latham.
breaking field.
I don't know who's going to win. Everyone just wrecked each other. No,
Is it Latham?
Garrison crossed the line first, but he wrecked Latham. I don't know. David Tooker might be the winner.
We've got Garrison, Tooker, Fode, Adams, and Stanley.
I really don't know who just won. Everyone just wrecked each other, and that doesn't usually count. So I'm not sure.
All right, so what happened? I'm going to try to explain what
somebody
happened.
won. Let's just go back to the white flag, Chris, and just rewatch all of this. I have no idea who won and who didn't.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the initial contact into 3. I'm going to talk about where this started with the 99 and the 50. So what happened is the 50, okay, this is 2 to go. This is the white flag, I believe. Yeah, this is 2 to go.
They're coming to the white right here.
So we're going to take the white, and the 50 knows that the 99 is better, 4 tires versus 2. So we're going to run through 1, and the 99 is going to start getting a run here. RC is going to see this run start to build. So he is going to protect the bottom down the straightaway, and then when they get to the corner, he's going to run the top. Well, Kwame knew that was coming, so when he tried to block the top, Kwame went to the bottom, RC just turned in, and Kwame was already there.
I know Kwame's your boy, but I don't know, Chris.
Well, watch. Slow this down. See, he goes to the bottom, RC tries to come down to defend. That's just 4 tires versus 2. RC had to pick, RC right here is going to block the bottom, and then he's going to move up and run the top to make Kwame think that. And then when Kwame turns in and goes to the... Kwame sees what he's doing and goes all the way to the bottom. RC tries to go all the way to the bottom to block. And Kwame's in there. That's just 4 versus 2, and RC trying to defend. You get 1 move, but you don't get 2. And RC tried to make a second block right there, and it was too late.
I just don't think there's a lane here for Kwame to go.
Look on the outside of the car when RC is running up the track to defend. Right here. See right here, RC is trying to defend the middle. He's running the middle and the high. See right here, the 99 goes into the bottom, and RC has to turn all the way down, and Kwame's already there. You got to pick a lane when you get to the corner, and RC was trying to block both lanes because he knew he was going to get beat on 4 tires.
And then you see the 0-3 come in. He goes through them. And then I think Garrison comes up and takes out the 0-3. Same thing. I don't know, man. Somebody won the race. I just don't know who. I think Garrison.
Garrison won, yes.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and Tyler Fode's not here yet.
So we've got, before we bring people up, we've got Garrison as the winner, Tooker, Fode, Josh Adams, Ethan Stanley, the top 5. Tate Lytle, Trey Holmes, Jonathan Cutlip, Ty McIntosh, and Josh Robin as the top 10. And they did give that tally to the 99. I might not necessarily agree with it, but I understand the call. But I believe that the 50 was just trying to block all the lanes there, knowing that he was on 4. You got to pick a lane when you get to the corner. In my opinion, RC should have picked the lane right there. I don't think you can block the outside and then turn to the bottom. And he couldn't. He got wrecked because of it.
Definitely is. We do have our 3rd place finisher standing by. We'll go ahead and bring him in now for an interview with you, Chris.
Well, joining me now is Tyler Fode. Tyler, It was a very up and down night for you. You ran at the front. You got caught up in a little bit of something there in the middle of the race. Ultimately stayed out at the end, and I thought it might work for you, but then those boys on tires got to you and you started falling. But everything that happened there in the last half a lap put you back in the top 3. So talk to us a little bit about your night and what you think about the finish.
Yeah, dude, crazy night. Started off so peaceful and so straightforward, and Kwame and I were looking good. Kwame definitely was the car to beat tonight. I don't think I had anything for him, but I definitely feel like I had the second best long run car, which was good. It was nice to have a couple teammates out there leading the field. He gave me some pointers, and we were rolling. And then we had a yellow for something, and I slid my box just a hair and had to restart a couple rows back, which was fine. And then I was just making a standard pass on Crump, and from I don't know how many cars back, Chad just drove in 3 wide like it was the last lap, got us both junked. So not too surprised about that, but I had to go and get it all repaired. And we only had 3 sets of tires, so I ended up using my second set when I got that damage fixed. So really the rest of the race there, avoiding some wrecks, trying to drive back through the field, and I think it was like 40 to go. We had another yellow, and I had to use my last set. So that's why I stayed out at the end. I didn't have any more tires left to come and get. And yeah, I almost thought it was going to work out. I was just hoping we'd keep on wrecking. And yeah, just a couple laps short. I think one more caution. If we had a green-white checkered, I would have had a better shot at it. But yeah, I was just getting kind of dusted left and right there, and I think I was back to 8th. And then they all started wrecking. I don't know. Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, wild would be an understatement there of everything that happened. I mean, from your viewpoint there, what is your opinion and thoughts on what went down there from the entry of turn 3 to the start finish line?
Yeah, I don't know. I think RC was on 2 tires. Kwame was coming on 4. Obviously, if there's any kind of gap that's left there, Kwame's going to try and fill that. And I think briefly there on entry, there was a gap. I think RC, probably looking back on it, would have got to the bottom a little sooner than he did. So I think Kwame beats him down to the apron. And obviously Kwame's not backing out of it, and RC's trying to close the door too, and then they just kind of come together. And yeah, I think Latham got into Kwame a little bit, which sent them both around eventually. And then, yeah, it looked like, I thought that is what it was going to be. And then driving out of the corner, I saw Latham get loose, come up off the bottom. Garrison drove into his door. Then they all started wrecking again, and I shot the middle, and somehow I'm up here. So I don't know. Just a couple of racing deals, if you ask me, but I think they ended up ruling it, however. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I think I agree with your assessment on what happened there in the 3 in the RC and Kwame deal. I felt like RC was trying to defend and was trying to mirror drive and maybe should have focused more out the windshield than the back. And I don't think he gave Kwame much of a chance to not wreck him. But anyway, it was a solid night for you. And what sponsors you want to thank, shout out you want to give here tonight as you get into the runner-up spot or the 3rd place spot, and I believe you're still the points leader, I think.
Yeah, I mean, somehow second half of that race, it wasn't looking like we were going to salvage much, but we did. So yeah, shout out Blue Egg Marketing, of course. KMP Graphics for painting the cars. All the Lake Norman guys tonight, Kwame and Robin. The speed was there, which is something nice to see. But when you get all these wrecks at the end of the race, it kind of just tosses it up to whoever. So a little unfortunate with Kwame there, but despite that, Robin was able to rally back and steal a top 10 out of it. So happy with that. Happy I got the 3rd. And yeah, shout out to you guys too for putting on the broadcast.
All right, thanks for joining us tonight, Tyler. Good run. Congrats on your run, and look forward to racing you there on Wednesday night as the Cup Series keeps on trucking down the line here Wednesday night.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, Chris, that was Tyler Fody, our 3rd place finisher. Joining us now here is David Tooker. David, 2nd place for a 2nd week in a row. What could you have done differently to get up there at the end?
Man, honestly, I don't even know. Me personally, I don't even felt like I deserved to be in that position. I knew we were relatively quick. I felt like we had a top 10 pace, but I didn't feel like we were top 3 or top 5 or let alone second. Just really struggled getting a grip on this car. I'm not really a big fan of this track, at least this new layout. But it was just kind of just riding around all race long. I got linked with RC about halfway through or start of the race until about halfway. Was just following him through the field, following his line, trying to save tires where he's saving tires, and found ourselves in the top 10 roughly, and then we hit about, I would say, lap 60. And we just could not run green. Once we got inside 20 to go, it was just caution after caution, which I mean, kind of sucks because we had a green flag run about halfway through the race. We proved that we could run clean when we wanted to, but I mean, I guess when it's the last 20 laps, it just becomes a smash and bash, unfortunately. I just can't really say what could I have done differently. Kind of just lucked into it right there. Leaders made contact, which that you're gonna almost expect that going into the final turn, racing for a win. Latham made contact with Garrison. Latham got loose, and Ethan kind of just drove into the back of him with nowhere to go, and the hole was open there for me to grab second. So, it's safe to say I got lucky with this one.
Yeah, definitely. You could have finished a fair bit further back with all the carnage that ensued there from turn 3 on at the end. But, 2 JD's Hilltop Salvage 150s in a row here. Kansas last week, Texas tonight, and you finished second in both. I mean, are you on the phone with JD's Hilltop trying to get them on board so you can just continue this run of solid finishes?
Yeah, I would love that. Please come sponsor me. I would love it. I'd love to represent their company and everything that they stand for. So, if I can, I'd love to have a sponsorship. But I think tonight it was just finding ourselves in the right position, trying to be aggressive when it mattered. Considering how the race was going, having cautions in the last 20, 30 laps, the aggression was going to be key on the restarts. Putting yourself in the right spot, going where cars aren't, trying to just make room for yourself. I think there was a restart there, last few restarts where I was outside 3 wide at the top of turn 2, just trying to find any sort of room there, and happened to find that. Last restart, I got a good run on Goodman. He was staying out on fresh tires, which I mean, at these races you gotta do what you gotta do to try to get yourself a good finish. But dove underneath him going into 1. Found myself in the top 5 and just kind of, like I said, just kind of got lucky with how things played out there.
Absolutely. And looking ahead to next week at Rockingham, what's your outlook going into that track?
Robert, I love Rockingham. That's honestly one of my favorite tracks because it's so unique, and you'd think I'd love this track with how different the 2 corners are from each other, but Rockingham, it's a rhythm track. It's knowing how to save the right front, knowing when and where to get on the gas. It's a lot like Darlington. Each corner, every corner drives differently from each other, and every corner drives different every lap. So it's going to be interesting to see, but. No, that's one of my favorite tracks. So if it's sponsored by JD's Hilltop, hopefully I'll finish second, maybe bring home a win. So looking forward to Rockingham.
Unfortunately, one of the few races not sponsored by JD's Hilltop, but hopefully a good finish anyways. But before we let you go tonight, any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, want to give a huge shout out to everybody at Pro Edge Racing Garage, all of our teammates, all of our affiliates. Leaning on RC and Garrison, some of the pro guys, that really helps. They've been a big help for us and our team in running consistent every single week. Like I said, everybody at the Pro Edge Garage, all of our partners. Mark Rebilas Photo, Worldwide Technology Raceway, TA Services, Blue Egg Marketing, JD Designs. I'm probably going to forget a few more. Hey, JD's Hilltop, thank you for sponsoring this race. Hopefully, like Robert said, you're sponsoring more, so hopefully I can get some more podiums for you guys. But everybody at Elite, I know tonight wasn't the easiest thing to do with how the race was going and some of the incidents out on track, and especially in the last 30 laps of the race, you don't ever want to race to end like that. So there's going to be a lot to talk about for our group as far as how we can finish out these races better for not only ourselves but everybody that's watching and you guys up in the booth. But like I said, everybody that makes Elite run as well as it does, all of our admin, our officials, there's so many people to thank, but not enough time to thank them. And also want to thank you, Robert, and all of our production team up here. Chris, I know you're up here. You're silent. I see you. But yeah,
Listen,
everybody.
we split interviews, man. But I do have a question. How about this? I'll give you a question.
Okay,
Have
I
you
love
seen
it.
the 747 that everybody's talking about? Because I have yet to see it.
No, I have not. I'm confused.
I figured you might get a tour of it or something, right? There's
JD's
spots-
Hilltop Salvage has a 747 that they have on their property.
Oh, okay.
Big ol'
Well,
airplane.
hopefully they give me a call from back-to-back podiums. I think I deserve it. But yeah, just
We'll
want to
arrange
thank you
that.
guys. Yeah, thank you guys up in the booth for what you're doing up here. I really appreciate it. I know you guys are both racers, so I appreciate you guys watching the action from the outside and really appreciate what you guys are doing up here.
It's a lot less stressful up here. There was some people pretty mad tonight, David. I don't know if you know it or not.
Oh yeah, trust me, they were in my Discord. There was a few of them.
Well,
I was talking about
congratulations.
the public for all of us to hear. Chad and Scott there. That rivalry's back on fire.
That rivalry will never end. David, congratulations on your runner-up finish once again.
Thank you, boys. Appreciate it.
Well, Chris, that was David Tooker, our runner-up tonight, and now you are standing by with race winner Garrison Hogan.
Well, I'm here with the winner, Garrison Hogan. Garrison, you picked the perfect 50 feet to lead. Take us through your night and how long you plan to just lead right at the end to win the race.
Well, hopefully I don't have a bad qualifying run again. That started it. But that was some crazy, like 50 feet to the checker flag was like satisfying, but honestly, I didn't even care if I won the race. Like getting the race over with at that point was like the objective because the ending was just caution after caution. And it was fun the first like 40 laps or whatever we ran. Coming from the very back, I started like in the very last spot. So I guess on the grid, that's like what 48th in the room, since it was 3 people who, left off the grid or whatever. It was 45 or whatever. So I started at the very back, but somehow I made it through the race and I got lucky. I think I was in the middle of like a couple of wrecks there and survived those. And then we somehow just ended up with the lucky horseshoe again, like the Daytona 500.
Well, it's more than just luck. Obviously, getting through 3 and 4 there, that was luck. Dodging all the chaos. But you and Josh Adams, we followed your guys' run from the back to the front all night long. I'm sure you were well aware. I believe you two came through the pack practically together. How hard was it to pass tonight? Because, I mean, you guys made it look easy, but I was trying to explain in the broadcast, it's not that easy to pass. So exactly how were you guys able to pass all those cars throughout the race?
Oh, where do I start? This track itself, like I love the track, but on our racing is so hard to pass, man. Like you have to have a loose setup to move up to the top in 3 and 4 and make that work. And I'm one of those people that loves to do that, but it just didn't work here. And then it's nighttime, so everybody's the same speed. Tires are about the same grip no matter what. I mean, somebody can wear out their right front a little bit more, but can still stay in front of you as long as they hit the line and they stay low enough. But passing people is awful here no matter what. And like if you miss the line by an inch, you're right in their wake, and you plow up at the top of the lane at the exit of the corner, and you're about to hit the wall. Sometimes you might not hit the wall, so like you have to just be calculated, man. It's all about getting the left front out in the air. And me and Josh, like you said, we were lucky to even make it up through there. Josh had to make some crazy moves, some evasive moves, so did I. But ultimately, you get there and you kind of get to where the fast guys are. You get a little clean air and you kind of figure it out. And then it's hard to pass them again, right? So definitely would not suggest coming from the back here at Texas because it is brutal. And then with a tight setup that wears the right front, it's even worse.
Yeah, and like you said, it's hard to pass. It's hard to do a lot of things, but you're a guy who, I don't know if you really want this tag on you, but you're a guy that reminds me of vintage Matt Kenseth. That guy would qualify in the back, have to use provisionals all through the season, and he would just be in the race, not talked about until the last 20, 25 laps. And that's kind of what you remind me of, is you qualify in the back, you work your way forward. Now, of course, we know that you're one of the faster guys on track, so we kind of keep tabs on you through the race. But it seems like every week you're there at the end. So hopefully, like you said, you can qualify a little better, maybe dominate one of these races. But I don't think Matt Kenseth is a terrible comparison, right?
I mean, no, it's not a bad comparison. I'm a Jimmy Johnson fan, but it's all good. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I qualified on the pole last week at Kansas, right? You would think my luck would have been great there, but then the wreck happened off of four, and I got collected. So I mean, it can work out whether or not you start from last or you start from first. But hopefully, I'll start making it more of a trend to at least get a little bit more practice and actually come in here and run a good qualifying lap so I can start at the front. I would like to accumulate points this year instead of starting at the back. I kind of learned my lesson last season. Starting at the back was not the way to go because most times I would get wrecked. So I'd rather not do that, and I'd rather enjoy my night.
Well, look at it tonight, man. If you were in the top 3 or 4 there when the white, you weren't there when the checker flag came out. So I mean, it worked out, right?
Just by 50 feet, right? So hey,
That's right.
I'll take
Hey,
it.
all you need to lead really is the last inch. All right, that's all. You don't need to lead any other part of the race. You lead the last inch, you win the race. That's all that matters.
Yeah, all that matters is they know you were there, right?
Well, yeah, and you take the trophy home, they gonna know you're there.
Yeah, of course.
Well, Garrison, before we let you jump out of here and celebrate your win, are there any sponsors you want to thank, shout outs you want to give?
Yeah. John JD Designs. That's on my car. Always great painter. I love, well, not, I'm not even gonna say like, right? I love the fact that he takes things and he goes outside the box with them when you're talking about your schemes and everything. So hopefully people like this paint scheme. Me and him came up with it. It's a replica of a Retro 1 Jordan. So it was on other schemes that I've run too. So it looks really nice on, I think, all cars. So that's great. 213 Somewhere is another partner of mine. I can never really get their name out there sometime enough. I wish I did, but my merch is on their site and everything, and I'm one of the representatives, so you can go cop my merch at their site. You guys in the broadcast booth, Chris and Robert, y'all do a great job every week. TA Services, Blue Egg Marketing, Worldwide Technology, Chad Frankenfield, and everyone that puts on this show. Really appreciate you guys.
Well, all right, Garrison, congrats on your win, the first of many this season. If I had to go out on a pretty solid limb, I believe. And we look forward to seeing you racing the Cup side too, right? Wednesday night.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to race a little bit more on the cup side this year. Maybe make that a little bit more of what I do instead of doing fixed racing. Probably do some C opens, of course, with Road to Pro coming up and everything. That'll be some of my testing. But yeah, I'll try to do some more cup races and be there too.
Well, all right, Garrison, we'll look forward to racing with you on Wednesday night and seeing you back here next Monday as we are at Rockingham, I believe is what Robert said. And that's a place with a lot of tire wear, lots of passing. So we'll see you next week when you qualify about 30th and you're there at the end battling for the win. What do you think?
Oh, it's gonna be a fun time, and when I say fun, I hope you guys prepare for a lot of contact.
I don't know if we can prepare for no contact anywhere. I mean, if you've seen last week at Kansas and tonight at Texas, that's full body, I hear, man.
Hey, we're on the record, so hopefully we don't keep it going. Hopefully we slow down here.
All right, Garrison, we'll see you next week.
All right, see you.
Chris, did you just ask the defending Daytona 500 winner if he runs Cup?
I didn't. I don't want to speak for anybody, so I just want to let them get it out. Well, I know he does Road to Pro, and I know he doesn't make all the races, so I didn't know if maybe it was just a one-off. If he's, I didn't know how many races he's planning to run. I didn't want to say, oh, well, we'll see you Wednesday, and he's like, well, I'm not going to be there. I'm doing this. Yeah, I know Garrison is involved in a lot more than just Elite.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Garrison is involved in just about everything, but Chris, obviously, lots of carnage at the end, and a lot of people definitely not too pleased with some of the stuff that did take place at the end. But final thoughts from you before we head out of here?
Man, this has been a crazy start of the year, and we saw it last week at Kansas. These places where we don't typically have a lot of wrecks. We've seen it tonight at Texas. The first half of the race, we were talking about fuel mileage. We were talking about people were topping off, and then all of a sudden, it's like everybody watched the Clash last night, and it broke out here at Texas. It's just insane. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if it's going to keep going. Like he mentioned Rockingham, get ready for a lot of yellows. Well, I mean, I didn't think we'd see a lot of yellows tonight, but here we are, full body contact out here. Everybody just trying to go right over top of everybody else, and it's the gloves are off in elite racing right now. And I don't know how long they're going to be off. Eventually, I think it's going to calm down. But I don't know if it'll be next week, as we are now joined by Nick Massey here. Nick, we're about to wrap this broadcast up.
Nick, what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, your thoughts on the race tonight.
I think Chad needs to pay me more up here for being in race control. Jeez, man, I'm telling you, making me work.
That was definitely a wild finish for you.
I was trying to review everything, keep you guys informed. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on, but yeah, it was
we
something.
Didn't even know these wrecks under yellow, like, we got to calm down. I will say this, as a series, the drivers in the series have all got to take a step back and just be a little calmer moving forward to Rockingham.
Yeah,
agreed.
I know we saw Cameron Rich get hooked there under caution, and he's not too pleased. I don't know that he's actually going to come back after this week, so that's unfortunate there. But
yeah, I didn't. I looked at that. I was out of the dog leg, right?
I do believe
It was
so.
down
Yeah.
into one. Yeah, like Dawson had been out for quite a while.
Yeah, I looked at that one and I just felt I didn't make any calls on that one because they were 3 wide, slowing down under yellow, and they just all kind of came together out of the dog leg. I don't, in my opinion, it wasn't really anybody's fault. Just kind of all funneled together right there. Yeah, that was something.
Definitely something, but that'll do it for us here in the JD's Hilltop Salvage 150 from Texas. Next week, we'll be back at Rockingham. Of course, we have to thank JD's Hilltop Salvage for being our race sponsor tonight, Rebilas Photography for being our series sponsor, as well as our premier partners, TA Services, Blue Egg Marketing, and Worldwide Technology Raceway. Thank you to Chad Frankenfield for putting on the league, Dave Huckleberry for his assistance with the production side of things. Of course, Nick Massey, our race controller tonight. And on behalf of Chris Wright, I'm Robert Hill Jr., and we will see you next